Good evening. Could you please state your name?
Vincent Williams, the director.
Okay, the artistic director.
Mm-hmm.
So could you tell me what's your motivation for bringing this play?
Well, first of all, I did the play about 20 years ago at the Strand Theater, and we pretty much sold it out there. I was working for Southern University, Shreveport, and Dr. Melvin Williams and I, we decided to produce the play.
State your name.
My name is Cortland Thomas.
Mr. Cortland, good afternoon. What role do you play in this film?
I play Papa Mose. That's Emmett Till's great uncle. When Emmett Till was murdered, he was with his great uncle at the time before he was kidnapped from the house.
Good evening. Could you please state your name?
Yes, my name is Rick Stovall. Right from here in the area, living in Keyville.
Could you please tell me your role?
Yes, I play Judge Swango, one who would be officiating the court trial of the two men that murdered Emmett Till. It is a daunting role. I don't know how much he figured in the final because it's really left up to the jury. Don't know what the judge could have done or would have done.
Your role. Do you think that your role was a role of a racist judge?
Very possibly. I've kind of played it very neutral, and it's been a struggle because the actress playing Emmett Till's mother does such a fabulous job.
Please state your name.
My name is Sharon Pinson.
Could you please tell me the role that you play in the Emmett Till play?
I will be portraying Mamie Till Mobley, the mother of Emmett Till.
Oh, here into the 40s. What highs did you have to experience to become Mamie Till?
Well, I had to really draw my emotions. If you come into this production, you need to be prepared. It's an emotional production. My son is brutally murdered, so you can imagine a mother going through that. But Mother Mobley didn't just hug herself and weep. She knew that this was something that she had to show the world. You know, she went on this far because the civil rights movement. And she went on to tell the world, she showed the world by just looking at her son's face. It just sparked people to want change. And
you're playing a very, very powerful movie.
It is, and it's one of my favorite roles to portray. When Mr. Williams did the production years ago, I was Mamie Till at that time as well. So when he called me and told me he was coming back for the 70th anniversary of when Emmett was brutally murdered, I had to say yes, I'll come back.
Good evening. Could you please state your name?
My name is Edwin Sherman, and I'm playing the role of Henry Spearman, grandfather of Emmett Till.
The grandfather of Emmett?
The grandfather, yes, sir.
So, what was the grandfather on this night?
The grandfather, probably one of the biggest support systems of Mr. Mamie Till Mobley. Just the research I've done. He was really older man, quiet, kept man, but when it was time to fight back or speak out, he did not hesitate. He didn't bite his tongue. Of course, Mamie had to kind of hold him back on some things, especially in the prejudice South.
You think that you brought the right amount of humanity to your role?
What I could bring, what I could bring to the table, what little ingredient I could bring, I would hope so. I would do part justice, Mr. Spearman of the Till family, and just carry the story. It's the story so much bigger than just playing that role. It's really a history lesson. It's a story that we need to know, so we won't be doomed to continue to repeat.
Good afternoon. Would you please state your name?
My name's Camille Gladney.
Could you please tell me the role that you're playing in Emmett Till?
I'm playing the role of Carolyn Bryant. Carolyn Bryant is the white woman that supposedly Emmett Till whistled at, and she was the architect of his death in that way.
In your role as Miss Carolyn Bryant, what life and reality do you think that you brought to this character?
It has been a challenge to find the humanity in the character of Carolyn Bryant. Much of what she does and says on the surface seems like a pure evil. Take on the challenge of voicing that because it did take place.
And you also playing the role of a woman that came back and admitted that something didn't happen. Yet nothing happened to her. She passed shortly thereafter, right?
Right.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Could you please state your name?
My name is Miss Neverland Townsend.
Could you please tell me the role that you're playing in this play?
I'm playing Alma Spearman, the mother of Mamie Till Mosley, the grandmother of Emmett Till.
So, Uncle Mo was your husband's brother? Or
Uncle Rose is my brother.
Did the actions of your brother cause you and his relationship to be severed? Or
the relationship wasn't severed, it was challenged because we knew that it was really not Moses' fault. We had Alma and Mamie. We had misgivings about sending Emmett back to Mississippi because we had not been, sometimes when we move away from what we don't like, we think we're doing better for our children. But he had no concept of the prejudice and things that were going on because Chicago was a whole different culture, general, whites were already integrated in places. And that is one of the things that his mother, my daughter, and I were very, very leery. So much so that part of the line to Moses was, you got to promise me that you are not going to leave him at all by himself. No one could have been prepared for that type of thing, not even Moses. And one of the things he suffered with that guilt for the rest of his life, believing that it was his fault, something that he had no control over. He really did not.
How long was Emmett in Mississippi before this tragedy took his life?
I don't remember. He was not there very long because he was only going to be there for the summer.
Good afternoon. Could you please state your name?
Yeah, my name is Reese Willard.
Could you please tell us the role you're playing in the Emmett Till play?
Yeah, I'm playing the role of Roy Bryant, who is the husband of the woman who made the accusation against Emmett Till, and the one who's on trial for murder in the play.
So Roy actually participated in the murder of Emmett?
Yes.
So was Roy responsible for bringing the other two?
Yeah, they were all together as friends, in the act. That he feels is obviously it's not a personal thing. He didn't know this kid before, and there's no other reason for him to act out violently that way other than some racial prejudice in his heart.
You're gonna have an audience predominantly African American. So what do you want them to see and understand about your character?
I want them to see, I don't know, I think it's on a more personal note. I want them to see that I recognize what they see. And if they can feel that, if I'm being truthful with the performance, then I think they're going to see, oh, okay, there's some people understand like what we've been dealing with, for decades and centuries.
This play is but this reality, this history is based upon race. we're in 2025. Do you think race still plays a part in society?
Absolutely.
Could you please state your name?
Demetrius George.
Could you please tell me what role you were playing in the Emmett Till play?
I have dual roles. In this production, I'll be playing the mortician, Mr. Rayner, and then also the eyewitness to the crime, Willie Reed.
Willie Reed. Let's start with Willie Reed. What type of light are you bringing to the character of Willie Reed?
I want to stay true to who he was as a person. He was very honest. Even though in that time he was, and during that time, segregation, of course, and fear of lynching, but I want to stay true to just his integrity of being an honest man.
How old was he?
He was 18.
He was 18. And Mr. Emmett Till was
14.
For him to be an eyewitness, where was he?
He was in the location of the barn. He was leaving his grandfather's home to go get meat for breakfast that morning at 6 a.m. And he saw the truck pass by his grandfather's barn, headed towards his Aunt Mandy's house. The barn was in between his Aunt Mandy's house and his grandfather's house. So he was in the vicinity of the barn with the...
I'm quite sure for an 18-year-old person to witness the brutality that was hampered upon Mr. Till had to be a traumatic experience, something that would change your life. As the mortician, so Mr. Till had a black mortician?
Yes.
Could you please state your name?
My name is Caleb Lewin.
I'm hearing about this Emmett Till play. Could you please tell us what role you play in the Emmett Till play?
So in the Emmett Till, I'm playing two roles actually. I'm going to be playing Milo, and I'm also going to be playing the lawyer Whitney.
Who is Milo?
Milo is one of the people that actually killed Emmett Till. So it's a very violent role, but we're going to be doing it for the story.
Could you tell me, playing this role, do you think that you're bringing life to the character that you're playing?
Yeah, playing this role, I definitely feel like, it's making this terrible character a real person because he was. So playing this character, I'm bringing him to life, and I'm also, it's telling Emmett's story because, that actually did happen to Emmett. I would say hate was definitely what drove Milo to do what he did on that night. I can't personally fathom how someone could actually hate someone that much, but it's so real and it's everywhere in the world still today, sadly. But I would definitely say that hate is what drives the character Milo.
Do you think that Milo operated like during the trial in an arrogant way?
I would definitely say that Milo was probably pretty arrogant during the trials. I mean, he's getting away with murder, like straight up murder. He's getting away with it, and I truly believe that they think that they were in the right. They till they died thought that they did the right thing. There's a huge level of arrogance and ignorance that goes into believing that they were in the right.
Do you remember the city that the incident happened in?
The city, was it Money? I think the city that it happened in was called Money.
Could you please state your name?
My name is Major Alexander, and I play Maurice in Face of Emmett Till, Emmett's cousin.
Emmett's cousin. So, what role did Maurice play in Emmett's life?
He played his cousin, and he really was the person that really drove him to do that whistle. As he saw the photos of the white girls he had in Emmett's wallet, so he was like, "How about you talk to him? How about you talk to that young lady there in that store?" And so his family really blamed him for that death, and the end of his life, he became an alcoholic and they didn't know what to do. And they just left him in his soul. So that really was the driving point. That really was, I don't want to say it, but he really was the cause of Emmett Till's feeling, if you want to put it like that.
How old was he?
He was between 14, 13. He was Emmett's age. They was both the same. So,
14?
yeah, 14.
So he just carried that death with him.
Carried that death with him, carried that blameless. Cause at the end he was like, I really caused him to go did that. And at his age he probably didn't know what was gonna happen. But yeah, he really carried that blame as a man and really deteriorated and destroyed him. So, yeah.
Did he see the body the night of, or
He saw the body when they buried him before his body returned to Chicago. So he saw his body while they was burying him. You know, I know looking at that image and the image we see today, I know that really broke him and really shattered. And I believe that was the point when he was like, what did I just do? What did I just do?
what do you want young people to gather from your role?
I want them to just understand that you have to watch the choices you make in life. Especially in this day and age, people are easy to snap just like that. And so they have to understand there's gonna be two options if you follow that path, death or jail. So you have to understand that this decision I could make could affect my family, could affect me, or the person I'm with. So you have to understand.
Could you please state your name?
Yeah, my name is Chris Allen Evans, and I'm an actor in The Face of Emmett Till.
Oh, could you please tell me the role that you're playing in this play?
Yeah, I get to play several roles. So I start the show as Morris Dees, who was one of the civil rights lawyers that helped get the Emmett Till monument erected in Montgomery. But I also get to play the sheriff in Money, Mississippi, who was there when Emmett Till was murdered. Also the lawyer who helped Mamie Bradley in the trial. And then an offstage role as the Mississippi Senator Eastland.
Very, very interesting roles that you're playing. So you're saying that the sheriff was actually at the murder scene when the murder actually occurred?
He wasn't actually at the murder scene, but in the days following the murder, he was there urging the body to be buried before anybody could look at it. So there's a scene that's in the play where he's having two people who knew Emmett bury the body before anyone can get to inspect it. Yeah, there was definitely an effort by the law enforcement in Mississippi to not have the actuality of what happened to Emmett Till get out and be investigated. Part of that was burying the body early. Part of that was trying to confuse the Till Bradley family as to whether Emmett was really alive or not. In the play, Senator Eastland is clearly against the NAACP. So when his parts come up in the play, they are when he's addressing Congress as to what happened in Mississippi, and he's really trying to shift the blame from the people who committed the crime to the NAACP. So it's a whole propaganda effort that came from the Mississippi Center.
And the guy who had the statue of Emmett Till erected, what was his name?
Morris Dees. He was a civil rights attorney.
And he was obviously a white man.
He was a white guy, yeah, and he's held in pretty high regard by Mrs. Bradley and some other folks. He was around during the civil rights period, civil rights activist period, and the play opens in 1989 at the dedication of this monument. Rosa Parks is speaking, and Mamie Till Bradley is the following speaker, and he's there on the scene.
Could you please state your name?
I'm Esther Gonzalo.
Could you please tell me the role that you're playing?
I'm the stage manager.
Stage manager. So, match your age.
I'm 16.
Could you please tell what you learned?
I learned that injustice was really hard to get back then. It wasn't that long ago. It was this very, very recent, and a lot of people my age and my generation do not know this story. They don't know a lot of the stories and a lot of the occurrences that happened back then. And we need to know this history because it wasn't that long ago.
Good answer. I mean, really, really good answer. So, in people knowing this history, do you think that it could spark a change in the division within our own race?
Definitely, because how do this become more and more divided? But we need to take stories like this to unite each other, not divide white and black, not divide black and black. We all need to come together as a people. Because color doesn't matter. We all have the same blood. So,
Good afternoon.
okay.
Could you please state your name?
Michael Hicks.
Oh yeah. Could you please tell me what role you play in this play?
I play the role of Emmett Till.
The star.
Yes, sir.
How does it feel to play such an historical role?
It feels very honoring. I'm very honored and grateful that I get to portray the role of the young man who sparked the civil rights movement and whose death shook the nation. It feels very honoring.
May I ask your age?
15.
You was close to the age of Emmett.
Yes, sir.
Where you from?
Shreveport.
Do you think that the role, meaning the life of Emmett in Mississippi, do you think that it resonates with a young 14, 15-year-old kid that's walking the streets of Shreveport in 2025?
Honestly, yes, I do, because Emmett was going to Money, Mississippi to hang out with his cousins, and as a result, he ended up allegedly whistling at a white man, which to get him killed. And I feel like there are so many teenagers my age who like maybe want to go to a certain place or to a certain party with a certain group of people, and it's just harmless fun, but they may not look at their home as same. So I feel like the story of Emmett Till does resonate with 15-year-olds and 16 and 17 teenagers.
Do you think that in 2025 that race plays a role in life, period?
I do still believe that race still plays a role, and that racism is still a thing that we can't run from. But I do feel like even today in 2025, there are still some people who have those same beliefs as they did in 1955.
How does it feel to know that the color of your skin could get you killed? As a 15-year-old kid who's playing the role of a character that sparked change in America. How does it feel in 2025, you living the life that you actually live, to know that race plays a role in the outcome of things?
It makes me more cognizant and discerning how I act and how I talk about and the way I function, knowing that my skin color can be a threat that can possibly get me killed. But it does make me feel I have to, as a young black teenager, have to act differently and more set apart.
Are you God-fearing?
Very much so.
Do you think Emmett was God-fearing?
I do.
How you doing today, my man?
Hey, it's good to be back. Good to be back, Shreveport.
Awesome, awesome. So, can you tell us your name?
David Barr the third.
All right, and what do you do?
What do I do? Well, the thing that I do that I'm most proud of is being an artist.
Being an artist.
Actor, writer, producer, director, and advocate these days.
Right. So I hear that you the writer of Emmett Till play, the face of Emmett Till.
I am the co-writer. I feel like, I really, to be honest with you, I feel like more like the stenographer, because Ms. Mobley, Ms. Mamie Till Mobley is really the writer and the author of all things that's called the face of Emmett Till. I'm just honored that she gave me the opportunity to be the co-author of this project.
Okay. So when did you create this amazing project?
We started this project in early 1997. I know it sounds like it's like a million years ago because it is, but 1997 early. Got the opportunity to meet her in late 1996, and we started the conversations about doing something creative non-fictional together in early 97. I want to say around January. We talked on the phone a couple of times, got in touch with our representatives through a mutual acquaintance in 96, and then we started in earnest in 1997.
Okay. So you wrote this with Mamie Till
Yes.
Mobley,
Yes.
Emmett Till's mother.
Yes.
And did you guys have any trouble, producing this?
Well, yeah, we had a lot of trouble. First of all, we had trouble with the co-author, that was me, because I was so intimidated by the subject matter that I spent the better part of the first 6-7 months just compiling information. I mean, it's a lot, primarily because of who it is and what it is, and we're not in the digital age primarily for everybody at that particular time. So it was a whole bunch of newspaper articles, old archives, personal accounts. It literally took 6 to 7 months to piece everything together. There was no court transcript that we had readily accessible at that time. So literally personal accounts, and it was like almost like a jigsaw puzzle piece. And that took a long time. That took about 6-7 months. But it really took shape once I finally got to the Civil Rights Memorial that is sponsored by the Southern Poverty Law Center in Montgomery, Alabama, for me to really understand, get the tapes that they had, understand just the total impact of what this incredible human being did for our country, not just for our people, not just for the African diaspora, but for the entire country. And that to me was everything. Once I got to know that, I think I got to know her and got to know the story.
Okay, so when was it written? When was it wrote? And when was it published?
Probably moving toward early 97. It took about 2.5 years. And we really rushed that because, quite frankly, at that particular time, we thought, and I think we were right. Mrs. Mobley was very ill at that point. She had a variety of different illnesses at that particular point, and so we were really nervous that she might not even see the piece. But the typical champion and incredible warrior that she was, Amazonian, Wakandan warrior that she was, she pulled herself together, and as we got closer and closer to the production date for this piece, which would be in the fall of 1999, she pulled herself together, and she was in better shape than most of us were. We wore ourselves out to a frazzle trying to make sure that we made that date, but she was probably the one in the best shape and in the best mind space when this thing finally opened September 4th, 1999. So it was about 2.5 years.
Okay. So when was the first time you guys did this play?
It was we started the previews in late August of 1999, and then the official premiere was September 4th, 1999. And we had to deal with a lot of things. We had to deal with death threats and crazy calls from Klansmen and white supremacists. Wow. Morris Dees, ironically enough, was actually in town for the premiere, but he was speaking at, I want to say UIC, University of Illinois at Chicago, during that time, but we couldn't ensure his security, so he couldn't even go. to the particular premiere, and he's actually in the play, the production of the play. Well, his character is, and we couldn't even have him secured. So it was pretty rough. You know, we had a lot of policemen there, a lot of Chicago policemen. Thank God they were there. I want to say Mayor Daley's son, you know, was a mayor at that particular time, but he, you know, understood the impact of having a native Chicagoan whose story actually changed the face of the country. He understood that, making sure that she was secure and the cast was secure and everyone, and especially the audience. He understood the importance of that. So we had the whole place ringed like it was an incredible traveling dignitary to the opening, to the premiere. And we did have someone very, very important. That was Mamie Till Mobley. So I literally remember like it was yesterday. Yeah.
Amazing, man. You're a pretty brave guy, man. To, you know, put this together like this.
Brave or arrogant or maybe stupid, some people might say, but I couldn't. You know, sometimes when you get to a point where you understand the importance of something bigger than you,
yes,
then you understand why you got to do what you got to do.
Agreed.
It doesn't matter what happens to you. You understand for future generations that you have a responsibility. You know, a lot of people that write these kinds of pieces, they go and they say, well, I want to get an award, I want to get some headlines, get some great reviews. We actually had a responsibility to make sure that we actually presented this thing in the actual light of the facts that happened on the ground at that point. And especially because Mrs. Mobley was still alive and relatively healthy at that point, we had a responsibility to get it right.
So are you in touch with the family members from?
Well, I was, but you know, a lot of them at that time, they were pretty much still alive.
Yeah.
But a lot of them are gone. And that includes Mrs. Mobley's husband, Eugenie Mobley, and people like Simeon Wright and Willie Reeds. And there's just so many of them who are no longer here. It's pretty sad. Wheeler Parker, thank God, Reverend Wheeler Parker is still here with his incredible wife, Marvella. They're still running a portion of the foundation for Emmett Till, but a lot of them are not here anymore. And that makes me very sad, because I think that they would have been able to, I don't want to say benefit, but really be able to have, you know, an opportunity to smell like roses while they're still alive, keeping the actual legacy alive. People that actually knew her and knew her well, not ancillary relatives. These are people that were actually on the ground with her when these events were happening. But yes, very few of those folks are still alive, and that makes me very sad.
Well, man, it seems like you just an amazing guy all around. David Barr, the third, actor, artist, writer.
Old.
So can you tell us a little bit more about you and your history?
Well, I'm an old country boy from Virginia. You know, probably I'm from a little part of Hampton, Virginia. There ain't no big around in this room right here. Hampton, Virginia. Grew up in parts of Hampton and Phoebus. The Phoebus neighborhood of Hampton, not too far from Hampton Institute. Yes, and that old Hampton Institute, and then Shell Road, and then Aberdeen Gardens, historic Aberdeen Gardens, which is a national monument, the National Historic Places, one of the places that are very, very fond in that particular area of Virginia. People we're very, very fond of saying we're the cradle of history. Well, we're also the cradle of African American history in that part of Virginia. And the Phoebus neighborhood of Hampton, Hampton Institute, and Aberdeen Gardens are three places that are like the triangle of where African American history is. As a matter of fact, the first African captives were brought to Point Comfort, which is about a half a mile away from where I was actually born and raised, in Fort Monroe, Virginia. So, and we start from there with Hampton High, with the Hampton Institute, which later became Hampton University, and kind of leapfrogged from Boston to Philly to Detroit, and then eventually to Chicago, Illinois, working for Ebony Magazine, and then Ebony Man Magazine. And that's where I started my career as an artist.
Oh, Oh wow,
Professional artists, yes.
that's amazing, man.
That just means you're getting paid.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, that's all that means. Professional artists, yeah.
So, I heard you said something about a sequel.
Yeah, it's interesting. Nobody ever, when you're dealing with creative nonfiction, which is what I've specialized in for the bulk of my career, people deal with the issue. They'll deal with the thing that happened, but they won't talk about the prequel or the information and the subtextual things around the event. I think that's a Hollywood thing, really, because they think about the short attention span of folks. But nobody specifically with Mrs. Mobley ever really talks about what happened after the trial. They kind of leave her in the back page of history, and I want to use those words because she actually said that. It just seems like after the trial, then there's Rosa Parks, and all of a sudden the name Mamie Till Mobley disappears from history, and that's a shame.
Right.
That's a shame. And what I decided to do about 25 years ago, we're in 2025 right now, so right after the piece opened in September of 1999, I got a lot of people asking me, well, what happened after that? Because we cut it off in 1989, and there seems like there's a gap between 1955 and 1989. So what I decided to do is fill that gap with a sequel as to what she really did, because she was an incredibly active civil rights prayer warrior.
Right.
And nobody ever talks about that. Well, and then a lot of people really never invested in it, trying to find out. Well, I actually did, because I knew the woman. I didn't meet her. I didn't work with her. I didn't get her autograph. I actually knew the woman.
Right.
And I think that there's some laziness that's happened with the actual archiving of her life. And because I just loved her so much and just absolutely appreciated her so much, because she really altered my life. I want to make sure that we're going to do her justice. So I decided to write a sequel with that, with people that actually knew her, real family members, not ancillary family members, but real family members. A piece called Mamie's Angels. And so my goal is, my hope is, to have that premiered during this, or at least the promotion of it, and have the premiere of it sometime within the 70th anniversary or the commemoration of Emmett's murder. And that's our goal.
Oh, man. Hey, man, I ain't gonna lie, man. I actually learned a lot in 10 minutes. About a lot of this. And I appreciate you, man. Is anything you want us to tell us before we, go off?
Well, one thing that I say is, this is me. I'm just an incredibly infinitesimal part of this particular story. But I always tell people, because now, when we first started on this piece in 1997, not a lot of people were actually giving this particular story any type of real attention, real historical documentation, historical verve. They really weren't doing a lot of investigation. Now, some of that is because of the media, some of that is because of the lack of the tools that we had available, but there's been some lazy scholarship between when we started with that and now, right now, we actually have the opportunity to use those tools. So what I would say is, investigate everything you can about the story, investigate everything you can about what really, really happened to Emmett Till, Emmett Lewis Till, and Mamie Till Mobley, Mamie Till Bradley at that time. But I would say, I'd caution you to say, make sure that you investigate it with people who actually knew her during that time. Now, you actually see, if you can actually get the words from her specifically, we got very blessed. This is the only thing that she ever blessed, a creative non-fictional retelling of this particular account, this particular situation. I'd say I try to do as much as I can to try to get the words from her specifically. I'm not downing anybody else. I'm just telling you like it is. When you had the woman available and she was alive and she decided she'd give the interviews, she would have the sit down, she would give a blessing. Those would be the things I would say. I would make sure that I investigate that. I would invest in my time in that. If you really, really want a story and want to really understand just what an incredible, beautiful woman, an important person in our American history she was, get her words. And quite frankly, we think that The Face of Emmett Till is the start of a lot of that. And I'd say that.
Yeah, man. So we got the great David Barr, the third.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And I appreciate you, man.
Hey, thanks for
And
giving me the chance to talk about one of my favorite people in the world. I miss her so much. Every time I get the opportunity to talk about one of the people that influenced my life the most, I will do that. Come back, interview me again for the sequel.
oh yeah, yes, most definitely. So we got to play this weekend, and so far our rehearsal been going wonderful.
Hey, that's even better.
So
let me tell you something. I'm still scared of Miss Mobley, so it better be going right. Because
Right.
guess what? She's a school teacher. She didn't play.
Right.
She'll haunt you if you don't get it right. Trust me, I know.
Right, man. I appreciate you, man. Signing off, Gumbo University.
All right.
All right.